What's up, my fellow scruffy looking nerf herders, and welcome to the Carbonite Chat. If you're just coming back from my last prior video, welcome. I'm discussing chapter 26 of the Last Jedi novel. I haven't come up with the exact title that I'll do for this video, but it's going to be something along the lines of Disney and how they're trying to make the world better. I wanted to try something different. I've had some people refer to me as toxic, complain, and I've had some people that's talked about how is it going to end? And so I wanted to turn a positive light on this. I wanted to try to get in the head and understand kind of how Disney feels, and also, my views have kind of been dropping. So I've got to come up with some ways to make the views rise up. And because of that prior video that I mentioned, I'm going to be talking a little positively about The Last Jedi and Disney. And so we're going to try to take a positive approach, see things through the rose-colored glasses. And also, as I was kind of looking over some things, trying to get some ideas over this video, I also realized one of the things that YouTube really likes to promote is makeup tutorials, and just tutorials as a whole. And while looking over some of these things, I also realized that there's a video done by ILM, who does all the CGI for Star Wars, and they did showing a little scenes of Andy Serkis being Snoke, and it had over 300,000 views. And I thought, well, why not try that? So, in kind of the spirit of speaking positively about Disney and Star Wars and The Last Jedi, and taking kind of a positive turn on this chapter as a whole, as I'm explaining to you the chapter, I'm also going to be doing a tutorial on how to, if you want to be like Snoke, and how to pull it off for Halloween, which is a very long way away. So this is just completely out of timing. But we're going to do it anyways. So we're going to cover how to be like Snoke, because Snoke's a popular title name. And then you also have how to look like him. And I think it'll also help me, because I've had a lot of comments about you don't understand, you're not making anything. You're not creating yourself, so how dare you talk about Star Wars? And so I want to take up that challenge. I want to kind of understand and feel what it's like to have to go through the process to make something like this. And so we're going to be positive here. So as I begin, I want to switch between explaining the chapter to you, and as well as kind of trying to lead you along on how to do this tutorial. Now, this can work for kids. This can also work for men and women. This is diverse. This is complete diversity. This is open to everyone. 100% PC, perfectly correct. And that's what we want to do here. It's what Disney's about, and that's what I'm about. So we're gonna get into that. So first, one of the things you want to do is you want to get some white duct tape and just split it open and cut it. Don't try to pull. I've tried pulling and it didn't work. So cut it with scissors. So I'm going to begin to slowly just place these like the dots for the CGI on Snoke. And as I do, I want to begin to explain chapter 26 to you. So in chapter 26, that's also why my hat's backwards, in case you're wondering, why are you wearing your hat backwards? Do you think you're cool now? It's not that. It works better for this. Chapter 26, we just ended off, and we got to the point where Rose and Finn were captured. And this is where we get into something that's kind of been discussed and talked about a little bit with the comics. Not even really a little bit. It's been talked about a lot. See, C-3PO has a spy droid unit. And he discusses how nobody pays attention to droids. Now, this is very important. This is why the title of the video is, Disney really dealing with the serious hard facts about what's going on. I've done prior videos recently about how Disney's been a little racist with their treatment, and a lot of discussion on, they've been sexist with the men, but I got to give them credit where credit's due. And they're really trying to change things in this world today. And one of the things they're trying to change is the way droids are being treated. It's very well known that in Lucas's Star Wars, that droids were mistreated. They couldn't even go into cantinas. They were held out. There were no droids allowed, and that's not okay. In our world today, we've got to make sure to accept everyone. If there's any droids watching this, you're welcome here. In this new Disney world, you're welcome, droids. beep boop beep bop. And that was the dumbest thing I may have ever done. You're welcome. And so BB-8's discussing that no one sees him. And this has kind of been a running thing through the novel, and I haven't brought it up, and that's been a failure for me. I've clearly been anti-droid in this. But he's talking about when Finn and them get captured, they take them away, but BB-8's not taken away at all. They just ignore him and leave him. And so he actually is kind of frustrated by the fact that he gets ignored, and he says, you know, it's a fact that people need to realize that this is going on. And I think that's the case, and I'm glad Disney's bringing this to the forefront. With all the other issues going on in the world today, this is key. This is important. This is that diversity that they talk about, and I don't think they get praised enough for this. And so I wanted to bring it up. And so BB-8, while left there, he tries to actually set the tracker himself. But while he's trying to set the tracker, he is able to do some things, you know, kind of slicing in, but it's manually done, so he ultimately can't do anything with that. So he ended up not being able to help as much as he wanted to and tried, and as much as it took, you know, a couple minutes out of the audiobook that I had to read from, nothing really came of it. But they did cover the key information about how droids are mistreated in Star Wars, and that needs to change. And I support you on that one. So then we go to the Snoke, Rey, and Kylo scene. And this is basically run exactly as it's run in the movie. There's not really, you know, kind of anything new going on there. And this isn't sticking to the beard very well. If you have a beard, don't shave it, because shaving a beard is absolutely terrible. But if you don't have one, then it probably works a little bit better. So then as they're in there, nothing really happens much different in the novel. And so that's kind of why I had this idea of why not do multiple things in one video. Because it may fall off. But that's okay. That's why you get many of them. And it's kind of like you're becoming the CGI character as you're going along. So don't worry about those types of things. I got to remember to keep up with the tutorial as I'm explaining chapter 26. And so there's just some interesting things. So Snoke, as he's trying to, you know, read Rey's mind, she's trying to look into Snoke's and do as she did with Kylo. But she says that there's nothing there. She's not able to do it to Snoke. That actually what's ended up happening is that she ends up basically just seeing a black pit. That if the dark side cave in Act 2 just never ended, then this would essentially be what he is. That he's just a black pit. And so he begins to read into her mind. And it goes through some stuff like him discarding stuff and keeping what he wants. And then finally figuring out where Luke is. And then once he finds out where Luke is, then he kind of tosses her back. And it's interesting, we covered this before, you know, in the last chapter, that Luke didn't want to even start a Jedi Order, and Snoke kind of manipulated him to start the Jedi Order. So why did he manipulate him to start the Jedi Order? But then in the middle of it, then now he wants to kill him. And then Luke, he knows, is in exile hiding away. Why does he need to go kill him? I'm sure there's a great reason that Rian Johnson has, that he just didn't have time to put it together in the movie or the novel. But I'm sure it's a really good reason for why that would be the case. And then he ends up bringing Rey before Kylo. And we all know this scene. And this is where Snoke, unfortunately, gets, you know, spoiler alert, he gets kind of screwed over. But what's interesting is, because if you remember from the prior chapter, I discussed how really what ended up happening was Snoke sensed that there was an issue with Kylo, that at the beginning of this scene that he was actually considering that maybe Kylo would never be what he wanted him to be, that Kylo would never actually make it, and that he will always be conflicted, that he could never get over the issue that his grandfather had. But now he says that this is Snoke, as Rey's in front of him, he senses kind of this no more conflict, that there's no more struggle between them, and that where once they had issues, now he saw that he was sure of himself. And this made Snoke happy. And let me, as I got one of these. This is kind of a bendable thing with a clamp. I don't know where you get them from, but you could probably find them on Amazon. To be able to have the head wrap around, you just clip it on the bill. Why is this so hard to do? There we go. And then just kind of maneuver in front of you. Now, so now you got like the little thing in front of you. So it's basically Snoke. You know, no one will know the difference. This is like buying it straight from Disney. And so he's trying to, and then one of the things you can do, it basically just CGI Snoke right onto your face. At this point, it's the same exact thing as you see in the movie. And so he's kind of bent between beginning to believe that Kylo's changed and thinking, now this is the type of person we were wanting this entire time. And he begins to talk with him, and as he's kind of explaining and mocking Rey about what's happening, he says, this is kind of in his head, that he closes his eyes because he wants to see it through the Force and not use his eyes, because that's, you know, it's not as great as watching what's about to happen through the Force. And this is, of course, as he begins to do that, he closes his eyes and he's talking about that Kylo Ren will turn the lightsaber. And as he turns the lightsaber, that's when he'll just light the thing and he'll kill his true enemy. And then that's when it just lights up and Snoke's just... Oh, well, that was stupid. That whole bit was dumb. It probably wasn't even funny at all. But we're going to go with it. But chapter 26 was lame and dumb, and so that's why I did it. No more being nice. I was nice for probably about 10 minutes there. Nothing really happened different from the novels. First off, the BB-8 not being noticed. So now it's time to really cover some of this stuff. BB-8 not being noticed, that's just idiotic. It clearly was spotted by a BB unit. Like, that's the first one that saw him. The BB's not going to ignore BB-8. They just had to write into some story why BB-8 still exists. It's just trying to fix a plot hole. Don't give me this crap about droids being ignored. They're not ignored by other droids. They're just ignored by people. And there was clearly a BB unit the entire time watching them. Like, give me a break. And then... so the Snoke stuff, again, there's not really anything of interest going on there. It's the same thing that we always know, but it's, if you look at the prior chapters that we just covered, like, Snoke's talked about, like, he's the one that set up Luke to start the Jedi Academy. He knows Luke ran off into exile. Now he knows Luke's wanting to die and kill the Jedi Order. Why do you need to chase after him? Why do you need to go after him and find him? We also had that Snoke mentioned darkness rises and light to meet it, which is idiotic and doesn't make any sense for Star Wars to begin with, and it's one of the dumbest premises you could ever begin to do, because if that's the case now, anytime it exists, you know someone else is going to rise up. There's like, it's just this screw up of what the balance is. It's just idiotic. But if that's the case, he says, Rey, you're a true Jedi, so now we must kill you. Well, you just said darkness rises and lights to meet it, so you're going to kill her? Don't you just know? At least you know she's there. Why not put her in prison? Because she's equal power with Kylo. Now, if you kill her and everything works out how you plan, someone else is going to rise up to compete. Not to mention the fact that he says he thought it would be Skywalker. So you think that Kylo is more powerful than Luke? And that Luke's got to rise up to be equal with Kylo? I mean, come on. It's just... It's utter insanity all the way around. If you wanted to go over this logic, then you should consider that Luke and Snoke are the exact same, and then Kylo, and then someone else is going to rise up. But apparently Snoke does. No light's going to rise up to meet Snoke. I guess if that's how you're considering this logic, and then Snoke saw that Kylo was completely conflicted the entire time, but now he's not conflicted, and you just think that it's not because you're tossing around the girl that he has feelings for, that you've manipulated him to have a connection with. And you've talked from The Force Awakens that his connection, that the issue that failed Darth Vader and the Emperor was that Darth Vader couldn't get over his connections to those that he loved. And now you've manipulated him to have a bond with Rey, and then you're tossing her around in front of him, and you've mocked him about how you've manipulated him. And now the fact that he's sure and he knows he wants to kill someone, you're like, "Ma, this is great. He's on my side now." It's so dumb. It's so stupid. It doesn't make any sense. This is supposed to be, as Kylo said, Supreme Leader is wise. He's not very wise to me. It seems pretty logical, like, wait a minute, something's up here. And then he closes his eyes to focus on the Force, which is just dumb. That I'm going to watch it through the Force. What does he have, a third eye? What is this? Is he a professional yogi? I don't know if that's what the third eye is. I'm just going to go with what it is. If I'm wrong in the comments, someone will tell me. But that's just stupid. But let's go with that. He closes his eyes to focus on the Force. Yet through the Force, he can't realize that through the Force that this lightsaber's moving directly next to him. So he's actually focusing on the Force at this point when this happens. Again, this is yet another time that Ryan's making it harder on those trying to argue that this movie makes sense. Because it doesn't. And then finally, I'm trying not to clap because it messes up the mic. Finally, after he kills him, then he pulls the lightsaber to him. He pulls the lightsaber and Rey catches it. And as that happens, they stand up as the Praetorian guards are about to attack. But it actually says in the novel, they had a moment to make eye contact and to look into each other's eyes before they went back to back and fought. Man, I mean, that felt special to me. That made me want to get on Tumblr and search Reylo and just look at pictures and just warm my heart with how special and beautiful that moment was. As Ryan said, them touching hands was, basically sex in Star Wars. So this eye contact thing that they had here, this has got to be like, second or third base. So this is pretty big moment. Like, it's equal to, cutting the fruit and floating it as she's in like latex. Anyways, that's the review of 26, chapter 26. The rest of them will probably be more back to normal. I wanted to do something a little bit different. Kind of play along with the joke after my prior video was a little bit serious, and this was going to be shorter. And I wanted to try something different, see what you guys thought about it. I'll kind of offer up to you guys, was something like this. I know this bit was terribly unfunny and not funny at all, but maybe you find it funny. It's something like this, something you would like to see a little bit more of if I'm doing some more monotonous videos, reviewing things like that, to do something as well as giving information like this, trying to figure out some bits to do along with it, to try to add something to it more than just me talking. If so, you can comment. You can comment and say, yeah, but do something funny next time. That'll be fine as well. I respect that. And then I would love to hear what y'all like about the channel and what you would like to see more of. It's my channel. I'm going to do what I want. But, depending from the videos that I've done so far, what are some things that you liked and would like to see, or some things you like to adjust? Before, I had some people mention about, getting my sound better, which I know is an issue. I now have a new mic. I hope it sounds better to you. But I would like to continue to try to improve and do some things that my viewers like, and also that I enjoy. But if I've done it beforehand, then I probably enjoy it. So let me know. I've done some flat out parody videos, some bits. I did an Alec Jones parody, things like that. Do y'all enjoy that? Do y'all want to see less of that? Do you want to see more of that? Let me know what you would like to see. What is in your mind? Carbonite chat. Normally I'm pretty, semi-confident on videos that I post, especially bit videos. But this one I'm not. But as always, thank you guys for watching. And never forget, you Nerf herders, I love you.